The Night of the Curse. The village of Ravencroft is a mysterious place isolated deep in the mountains of the American wilderness. Known for its eerie fog, dense forests, and ancient stone castles, the village has a storied history of unexplained events and rumored curses. The night descends. It is Halloween, and Ravencroft's villagers feel an unsettling energy in the air. The night was cold, and an unnatural silence grips the streets and people around. Strange shadows start appearing around the village. People report seeing their own shadows behaving in ways they can't explain, like moving independently or forming shapes of beasts and monsters. In the high castle, King Alaric, a proud but aging ruler, has suddenly fallen ill. His trusted healer is at a loss for how to cure him, and his loyal servants start whispering about a curse. Rumors spread. Panic begins to seep through the village as more villagers witness bizarre occurrences. Some say they've seen figures with red, glowing eyes peering from the shadows, while others claim they've heard low, menacing whispers calling their names in the night. An elder named Miriam, who has lived in the village her entire life, reveals an old tale about a curse placed on Ravencroft centuries ago. The curse, she claims, was cast by a mysterious witch banished from the village, who vowed to return one day to destroy the king and his people. The king's healer, a wise man named Rowan, notices strange symbols appearing on the king's body, marks that look like ancient runes. Rowan recalls studying something similar in forbidden texts, but worries that sharing his knowledge could bring danger upon himself and his family. He kept mute. The king cries out for a solution. At dawn, villagers find crows circling the castle, cawing loudly and refusing to leave. One crow crashes through a window in the king's chamber, landing lifeless at his feet. When Rowan examines it, he finds a scroll tied to its leg with a cryptic message. The night of reckoning has come. Prepare for the shadow's return. Rowan consults Miriam, who remembers that her ancestors spoke of a forbidden ritual that could protect the village. This ritual, however, requires a rare herb found only in the heart of the nearby forest, a forest believed to be haunted by malevolent spirits. That night, a young servant named Thomas is found dead in the village square, his face frozen in terror. Witnesses claim they saw his shadow acting on its own, as if pulling him into the darkness before he collapsed. Fear grips the villagers, who now believe the curse is targeting them. A council is held, and some villagers demand the king be held accountable, blaming him for angering the spirits of Ravencroft's past. Rowan, determined to save the king and end the curse, decides to gather a group to retrieve the herb from the haunted forest. Despite his fear, he knows it may be the only way to protect the village. Rowan, Miriam, and a few of the king's loyal guards venture into the haunted forest under the light of a waning moon. Strange sounds echo through the trees, and shadows seem to follow them with every step. As they reach the center of the forest, they encounter an apparition of the witch who cast the original curse. She warns them that breaking the curse will require more than just the herb. It will demand a sacrifice from someone of noble blood. Despite the witch's warning, they manage to find the rare herb. But as they prepare to leave, one guard vanishes, his scream echoing through the forest. The remaining group hurries back to the village, their mission a grim success overshadowed by a new fear. Back at the village, Rowan realized that the king's life may need to be sacrificed to save the village. Tensions rise as he confronts the king with this possibility, and a new question emerges. Will the king surrender himself to break the curse, or will he sacrifice his people to save his own life? The king frowned back to his castle. Rowan reveals the witch's warning to King Alaric, explaining that breaking the curse requires a sacrifice from someone of noble blood. The king's face pales as he realizes the weight of the choice before him. King Alaric refuses to sacrifice himself. He orders his guards to search for another solution, dismissing Rowan's proposal. This decision causes tension and doubt to ripple through the castle as servants and soldiers question his leadership. Word spreads quickly, and many villagers grow furious at the king's refusal to protect them. A group led by the blacksmith, Gareth, demands that the king accept his fate, insisting that the village should not suffer for his cowardice. Over the next few nights, more villagers fall victim to the curse, each one found with eerie, unexplainable shadows contorting around their bodies. The marks on King Alaric's skin spread further, forming intricate patterns that seem to pulsate with dark energy. The elder, Miriam, receives a haunting vision where she sees the witch's spirit standing in the village square, pointing directly at the castle, the king's palace. In the vision, the witch's voice whispers, "Only blood can cleanse the shadows." Immediately, Miriam wakes up in fears. Miriam reveals to Rowan that the curse was not only placed on the king, but on his entire lineage. Generations ago, Alaric's ancestor had betrayed the witch, sparking the curse. King Alaric is merely the latest in a line destined to suffer from this old vendetta. The curse begins taking a more sinister form within the castle itself. Shadows creep along the walls, and eerie figures start appearing in mirrors. Servants refuse to enter certain rooms alone, claiming to hear disembodied voices whispering in foreign tongues. One morning, the castle walls are found smeared with a message written in blood. The king must pay. The villagers interpret this as a sign that the curse demands King's life, and pressure on him reaches a breaking point. Torn between his fear of death and the responsibility to protect his people, Alaric becomes haunted by nightmares of the witch and the spirits of those who have already died. He questions his past choices and wonders if he is truly cursed to repeat his ancestors' sins. Rowan, seeing no other path, gives the king an ultimatum: either sacrifice himself to lift the curse, or watch as the village and his legacy are destroyed. Rowan urges him to end the suffering and be remembered as a noble king who chose to protect his people. After a tense, emotional struggle, Alaric agrees to perform the sacrificial ritual, but on one condition. Rowan must promise to protect his daughter, Princess Evelyn, the last remaining member of his bloodline. The villagers, filled with both grief and relief, prepare for the ritual. Rowan gathers the rare herb and the ritual objects, and the people gather in silence around a makeshift altar at the heart of the castle. As the ritual begins, a sudden storm envelopes the castle, and a dark figure, a spirit of the ancient witch, appears, laughing and revealing that the curse cannot be so easily broken. The witch's final words hint that someone else in Alaric's bloodline may also have to be sacrificed, leaving the villagers horrified and questioning whether the curse can ever truly be lifted. The villagers are stunned as the witch's spirit materializes in the middle of the ritual. She taunts King Alaric and reveals a hidden truth. The curse was designed to extend across generations and cannot be broken by a single sacrifice. Instead, it requires two members of Alaric's bloodline, a heartbreaking twist for the king and his daughter, Princess Evelyn. Princess Evelyn, who had been kept in the dark about her father's illness, is brought forward. She is horrified to learn she may have to give her life as well. Torn between loyalty to her father and her own fear, Evelyn questions whether she should pay for her ancestors'
Rowan's
sins.
desperation to protect Evelyn. Rowan begs the witch's spirit for mercy. He pleads that the curse has taken enough innocent lives and offers himself in exchange. However, the witch only laughs, claiming that no one outside the bloodline can fulfill the curse's demands. Faced with an impossible choice, the villagers turn to the ancient texts Miriam has kept hidden. Together, they search for any ritual or spell that might break the curse without claiming Evelyn's life. Rowan discovers a passage in one of the old texts that speaks of a cleansing of shadows, an obscure ritual that could expel the curse. However, the ritual requires incredible strength and a bond of trust between those performing it. Specifically, it requires an act of true sacrifice made freely by both members of the cursed bloodline. Moved by her people's suffering and her father's torment, Evelyn decides to go through with the ritual. She believes that if she and her father both willingly offer their lives, they may be able to spare the village. Alaric, seeing his daughter's bravery, is deeply affected and agrees to join her in the ritual, despite his own fears. The villagers assemble in the castle courtyard under a full moon, surrounding an altar that Miriam and Rowan have prepared with the rare herbs and ancient symbols. The air is thick with fear and hope as Alaric and Evelyn step forward together, holding hands. As the ritual begins, dark shadows rise around the altar, drawn from the cursed bloodline and gathering like a storm. The witch's spirit appears, attempting to break their concentration with taunts and visions of terror, forcing father and daughter to confront their deepest fears. Alaric and Evelyn hold on to each other, reaffirming their willingness to protect the village, even if it costs them their lives. With a final act of selfless love, they speak the ritual's last words, binding themselves together in a powerful display of courage and sacrifice. As the last words of the ritual are spoken, the witch's spirit lets out a furious scream. The shadows around her begin to dissolve, and she is pulled into the ground, defeated by the strength of the curse-breaking ritual. The air clears, and the oppressive darkness over Ravencroft begins to lift. Alaric and Evelyn collapse at the altar, exhausted but alive. The curse has been broken, and the shadow marks on Alaric's body fade away. Rowan and the villagers tend to them, grateful and relieved that the nightmare is finally over. In the days that follow, the villagers come together to heal and rebuild. The curse has left scars, but the spirit of Ravencroft is stronger. They honor those who were lost and celebrate the courage of Alaric and Evelyn. Alaric, realizing the importance of redemption, vows to lead with compassion and wisdom, guided by the sacrifices made by him and his daughter. Evelyn, too, dedicates herself to the village, becoming a beloved figure in Ravencroft's future. The legend lives on. The story of the Night of the Curse becomes a tale passed down through generations, a reminder of the power of sacrifice, redemption, and the strength of family bonds. Thanks for watching. Please don't subscribe to our YouTube channel. Turn on the notification button